Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I-Man here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, Rovi, and MScribe, and today we're going to be talking about NAT.
NAT GMI, dude.
That's right. You buy NAT at the price you deserve, ultimately.
Okay. What does that mean? That sounded very aggressive for one. What do people deserve?
Well, people don't understand what NAT is, and we're getting a lot of comments that be like,
Stop talking about NAT or what?
Yeah, basically.
You're wasting my time with this NAT?
Yeah.
NAT nonsense?
Correct.
NAT sense, whatever?
NAT sense. That's a good one, dude. We're going to use that one.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, if click, if you don't want to know anything about this
The
non-arbitrary substance.
The second subsidy of Bitcoin, the thing that's going to sustain Bitcoin in the long term past 2140.
Yeah, so in case you haven't picked it up by now, this will be a permanent fixture in this channel.
Yeah.
So do with that information what you will, right? But nonetheless, there's no better time to discuss NAT than on the eve of this minor redirect, and while Bitcoin is absolutely nuking and everything else in the arbitrary token space nukes as well, right?
Yeah, I actually like it when Bitcoin nukes because it's accumulation time, right? And as a matter of fact, if you look at the chart, the blue zone is when you accumulate, and we're right at blue.
Yeah,
again.
People assumed we wouldn't get back there until the actual next leg of a bear winter.
Yeah.
So I mean, as you can imagine, people are capitulating, right? It's like, oh man, maybe we actually fully topped out at 109K.
Yeah, in the green zone. We topped out in the green zone for the first time ever in 15 years.
Hey, why not?
I mean, it could.
Yeah.
I wouldn't bet it would.
Yeah, I mean, when the fundamentals are as strong as they are, I guess. But still, it's just not the right timing for Bitcoin to do its thing that it typically does, right? So
so my prediction is, as we've seen a rise in Bitcoin and then sort of like a lull and then another rise and a lull, we saw a year-long lull right before the happening.
Yeah.
And then an explosion, and then we're going to see some more lulling.
Yeah.
Until another explosion.
Yeah, who knows how long this lull will last, but I'm thinking 3 months roughly. I think once we get closer to that regulatory clarity, I think that's supposed to happen some point in May or June, I think. That's what's targeted. So that would be if that gets pushed back or delayed in any sense, that would definitely be quite the rug pull of sentiment, I would imagine.
And if you're right, if we go another 3 months of this, it would mimic very closely to 2017 cycle.
Oh, would it?
Yeah, because the last 3 months in 2017, that's when it went from green to red.
Yeah, very explosively.
Yeah,
I remember those days. It was violent. Yeah, everything only went up for a short amount of time.
Yeah, here we are in September, right? So let me zoom in just a tad. Here we are in September, and it's 3,900 Bitcoin, and then December 20,000.
So potentially that's in the what's the word? It's in the works. Hey, that could be what we experience this cycle, maybe. Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's really, I don't know, fruitless to really try and predict too much what's going on here. This is why we preach fundamentals and conviction and stuff like this, so that whenever numbers do go down, it's gonna hurt. In the interim, you see your portfolios kind of tank. That has you're going to have an emotional response to that no matter what.
Still shocking every time.
Yeah. But if it's really drastic to that, that's an indication that, you might be overexposed a bit, right?
Yeah. We've seen the results of that recently in crypto Twitter.
Yeah. Let's not redig that dark energy. You don't need to stay off crypto Twitter, guys. If you want to amplify that negative emotion. Yeah.
Yeah, go into crypto Twitter.
Yeah, it'll do that.
Right. All right, moving on. All right, so we're looking at a tweet here. It says, what did the crypto market crash? The crypto market has crashed hard in the past few hours, resulting in $600 million worth of liquidations. The reason behind that is Trump is going to impose tariffs on Mexico and Canada. High tariffs means high inflation in the U.S., which will be bad for stocks and crypto market.
Yeah, so people are speculating as to why. I mean, it's probably the likely candidate for a catalyst on the way down because, stocks are responding as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, just market ruffling. I guess, Trump is president now, so a lot of the air is left the room as far as, bullish sentiment. I mean, I don't know, taxes are approaching also. Another
true
thing. People need to liquidate to kind of get their taxes in order.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things, right? And then you got the Bybit situation as well. It's like another coal on this fire.
So why has the crypto market crashed? The crash is tied to the Bybit hack. So essentially $1.4 billion worth of ETH has been hacked by Lazarus Group, and which is funded by North Korea.
Right.
And now North Korea owns more ETH than Vitalik and the Ethereum Foundation.
Right. So essentially Ethereum is completely compromised by a rogue state.
Correct. What do you think about that, TJ?
Oh, joy.
It's totally...
So
more FUD for ETH is all I need.
We all work for North Korea now?
Or we don't. Or we roll back the chain and it never happened, right? Just a little one of these. We forget it ever happened, right?
Yeah. I guess that has consequences too.
Of course. Yeah, right. All of a sudden, not as decentralized as,
That's
we're
right.
all led to believe. So
I'd be interested to see them execute that, just like from a science perspective.
Well, it's been executed before, right? The DAO hack?
Yeah. I don't remember how that happened, but that was at a time when it was proof of work.
Okay.
So I guess a bunch of miners agreed at a specific block height. We're just going to fork from there.
Right.
And then now you have today's ETH, but a proof of stake, I'd guess you'd have to get a bunch of validators to agree to a certain block height and fork from there.
Yeah. Essentially the ETH Foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it could be done, I'm sure. But I think the best thing to do here is just kind of just move forward. Mm-hmm. Whatever.
Just work for North Korea.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Whatever. Maybe.
Yeah, that's true. You brought up a good point. It's like, what if North Korea actually purchased 1.4 billion worth of ETH?
Yeah, what are you supposed to do?
All of a sudden, you're just going to fork the chain then, or what?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's just because they happen to have like a, savvier acquisition strategy.
Right.
They caught Bybit lacking.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like a
solid point.
Yeah, and it's like an alert to the industry. Maybe they interpret it as North Korea provided a valuable white hack service, dude.
Yep.
It's like now everybody needs to amp up their security game a little bit.
That's right.
So 1.5 billion rewarded to you guys,
for discovering that vulnerability.
Yeah, contributing to our progression.
I should be thanking them, right?
That's one spin on it. I'm trying to help your bags here.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome, dude. You're welcome.
All right, Cook coming in here. So this might sound crazy in the market, but I'm getting more and more bullish on Bitcoin alts. All market signs increasingly point to Bitcoin dominance. Institutions don't care about much else. Bitcoin will absolutely have a vibrant ecosystem and a massive DeFi environment. Market downturns are a great time to look where no one else is looking. I'll post many more thoughts as we go. No rush to accumulate. But there are some interesting opportunities out there. Runes won't die. Bitcoin DeFi will grow. Layer 1 Bitcoin utility tokens will shine eventually.
We know a few of those.
That's right.
Shout out Tap and Track.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is good. So during this bleed of sentiment, it's like, this disillusionment with, meme coinery, the hyper casino, all the stuff that has kind of catalyzed this downswing in sentiment and such. And, how about we go back to the roots and fundamentals of what Bitcoin is and what it represents and, what we could build on top of that potentially. Right. I think that's what Cook is saying here. Somebody of notable influence. I think other people are, once they realize things are happening on Bitcoin, that presents a new opportunity. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever this is the time to start positioning yourself and understanding those opportunities, right?
Yeah. Kind of like that name, Hyper Casino. I think that should be a project.
Hyper Casino?
Yeah.
Should be a whole chain, dude. This is where the action is.
All right. So we're about to talk about a very interesting individual here, Jason Lowery. We are still very early in our understanding of the theoretical computer science behind reusable proof-of-work networks, digital gold theory. We'll get the price of Bitcoin to $1 million per coin by 2030. But the real fun starts after that when the public begins to understand and accept the deeper theoretical computer science behind proof of work that has begun to emerge over the last few years, like power projection theory and digital matter theory. That is when we see the price run away to 100 million.
Sheesh.
And quote tweeting here, Monero Nakamoto.
Shout out Monero. Powerful Monero Nakamoto. So yeah. He said DMT, dude.
He did.
So first of all, who's Jason Lowery? If you can like somehow sum up this guy's significance.
Yeah, so Jason Lowery is like a military strategist, and he's come up with this concept called power projection theory.
Right.
And he's done what we've done to DMT in the sense that he's looked at Bitcoin and he saw it from a different lens, from a military perspective.
Right.
And he also saw patterns in nature, right? This power projection, like a bee has a sting. That sting represents its power projection in the environment. There's a cost to attack, a benefit to attack over a cost to attack, right? So the benefit to attack a bee might be for honey, right? But the cost of attacking a bee to get honey is a swarm that stings you, right? So there's a benefit to cost ratio, right? So the whole idea is like the benefit to attacking Bitcoin is that you might be able to collect a bunch of Bitcoin, but the cost of it is really high because it's completely decentralized. It's like there's no way to actually modify the data within the Bitcoin's like blockchain. And I mean, that's the whole point of why Bitcoin is so secure, because it's so cost prohibitive to attack it.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So he's published some notable like books around this thesis and stuff. So
yeah, software. As a matter of fact.
Oh, we have it. Yeah. Oh shoot, bust it out, dude. Maybe that's gonna be a new. Yeah. Do you have it hiding back there? What are you doing?
Standing back there, dude. There it is.
There it is, front and center, dude. There's got to be a way to have this thing stand on its own legs. Okay, maybe not.
There it is.
It's a little flimsy, dude.
Yeah, so I went through about, 50% of this, like over like a week, and it's definitely a page turner. But he goes through like historical points on like a bunch of commanders in the military just not recognizing technology out there. There's one where he was like, the commander goes to his troops and he says, guys, don't worry about them. You got a sword and a shield. And then all of a sudden there's like a plane flying over their heads, like completely decimating these guys.
Right. Yeah, just watch The Last Samurai if you want to like see that play out in Hollywood fashion.
And so anyway, he's got a bunch of YouTube videos kind of explaining this theory. I definitely recommend you guys look it up and kind of see what this guy is talking about. But he mentions DMT. And so here, let's go deeper. So digital power presented in Saylor's digital asset framework taxonomy presented to the SEC to distinguish Bitcoin from other digital assets. My gut tells me we will see other major government organizations begin to support the digital power distinction too. So in that taxonomy, it says digital commodity, an asset without an issuer backed by digital power, e.g. Bitcoin.
It's interesting. So yeah, we've been like tussling with trying to fit NAT within this classification scheme that's here. So it's like, in NAT's case, there is an issuer for this token. It's Bitcoin itself.
That's right.
So I don't know. Does that classify?
It has to be a commodity because Bitcoin isn't like an entity.
Something that needs to be like regulated.
Right.
Over like it's not part of like some securities jurisdiction.
Yeah. Even if you try to regulate Bitcoin, like you'd have to modify the code and then get all the miners to agree, and it's like you can't. Yeah.
So I'm perfectly pleased and aligned with like NAT being classified as a digital commodity, because that was essentially the root motivation for the DMT protocol itself, as to usher in a new like category of digital commodities that could exist in the context of the metaverse, and that could like supplement an actual further economic advancement as a result of that. So it's doing that, achieving that by leveraging those immutable properties of Bitcoin itself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is why it's like it's an exclusive in its own realm type of asset, right?
Yeah, and DMT is just it's a formal recognition of patterns on Bitcoin. It is the language that we use to identify one pattern over another, a token launch using a pattern versus another token launch using a different pattern. Mm-hmm. It's just a language.
Right.
So in the fact that the NAT token is pointing to the bits field of Bitcoin, it's completely dependent on Bitcoin, right? And so that's why we call these tokens non-arbitrary tokens.
Yeah, as opposed to tokens manifesting that are baseless, right?
Right.
Some user at some like interface just put ones and zeros into a string and push the deploy button, and now like that's how many tokens exist. And
Yeah,
then
and that qualifies as an issuer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit more of like a, not as closely aligned to what Bitcoin is, right?
Yeah. So, for example, that's a digital security, an asset with an issuer backed by a security, equity, debt, derivatives.
Yeah. Or a token.
Or a token. Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily, it has to be backed by security. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. So that's good. We're discovering more like NAT profiles that make it, I think, more of like a bullish, give it a bullish persona. In this market, right? Because I think everything wants to be the next Bitcoin in some sense, or some implication to that. Why? Because Bitcoin is the historical achievement of mankind to like digitize like value.
Yeah.
Right. So of course we want to replicate that or do some other interpretation of that. But NAT is like the first one that's actually leveraging Bitcoin itself to kind of like usher in this new layer of value.
Yeah, so we have a video that explains exactly what NAT is, brought to you by Tap Protocol, right? They developed this video. It's perfect.
Yeah.
So just to remind everybody, the NAT token is a completely free and fair token. There's no VC allocation. There's no team allocation. There's no liquidity allocated. Nothing. It's completely 100% distributed to the community. And pretty soon, we're going to talk about how this is being directed to the miners, and we'll show that in a second. But first, let's watch this. And, of course, let me connect Bluetooth here. And here we go. All right, check this out. All right, this is it.
Slashed in half. Miners secure the chain, so every 4 years, miners' rewards are slashed in half. Miners secure the chain, so rewarding them is vital. Without them, Bitcoin's future would be at risk. Currently, the only direct reward that miners receive is the Bitcoin mined from each block. Activity on Layer 1 protocols, such as ordinals and runes, drives some additional revenue to miners in the form of transaction fees. But these are indirect rewards, so miners never get to share in the upside of tokens themselves. But this is about to change. The emergence of digital matter is set to revolutionize the Bitcoin miner revenue model forever, as it now enables additional block subsidies to be driven directly to miners on top of their standard Bitcoin rewards. NAT, the first DMT asset ever created, will become the first additional token paid to miners. The NAT token leverages DMT in a unique way. Issuance decreases as Bitcoin's hash rate increases, which perfectly aligns miners' incentives, because the more secure the chain becomes, fewer new tokens are created. This is made possible because the track network indexes Bitcoin data, including the bits field, which encodes mining difficulty. So as that number fluctuates, the production of DMT tokens is automatically regulated by Bitcoin. This groundbreaking incentive mechanism is being pioneered by the TAP protocol so that all DMT tokens launched on TAP can opt into rewarding miners directly. This will birth an entirely new breed of mission tokens that will directly contribute to Bitcoin's thermodynamic security. TAP protocol is on a mission to support the miners, secure the chain, and protect the future of Bitcoin.
Beautiful.
Perfect, dude. Yeah, so all this time we've been spending trying to, inform you guys what's going on.
It's like, there was like quick 135 second video.
Yeah, so that's it. That's all you need. So we have a website also, natgmi.com. This video will be fixtured to at some point in the near future. So
correct. Yeah, and so this video talks about directing the NAT token to the miners. And so when is that going to happen?
Yeah.
Well, I have a handy inscription here that says that's going to happen. The TAP reward to miners on block 885588.
Palindrome.
Quite the palindrome.
Very historical.
Yeah. So when is that? That is on February 27th around 3 p.m. Central.
February 27th. Is that Friday or no? That's Thursday.
It's Thursday, yeah.
So in a couple days, guys. So yeah, like we said in our last NAT video, we'll be live streaming this.
Yeah.
Well, on a Twitter space, right?
Yeah, potentially, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so definitely join us if you can, for sure, because a lot has gone into this initiative, and there's a very deep purpose behind it. A mission, you could say.
Yeah.
It's all outlined on this website. So, of course, it is to introduce that second subsidy to Bitcoin to address that, impending subsidy dilemma for the Bitcoin network itself, right?
Yeah, and so on natgmi.com, you can just click on the blocks here, and once that block mines 885588, you'll be able to see how many NAT tokens each miner has earned from that block.
Yeah. So just as they're earning Bitcoin, they'll be earning NAT as well. So yeah, this is going to be, truly an interesting time. So yeah, you're probably asking, how do you get some NAT, right?
Yeah, so one of the places is very popular, Ordinal's Wallet. So essentially, the way that Bitcoin assets work is you kind of bundle X amount of NAT tokens into a single inscription, and you sell that inscription. So you're buying them in bulk per inscription, essentially here. So for example, if you buy $700 or $769 worth of NAT here, you're essentially buying, how much does that say? Oh, I need to connect my wallet. But you're essentially buying 50 billion NAT tokens, right? And so, and then that's how it works.
Yeah. So most of the volume occurs on this platform, but there are others. Taproot Swap, for example, that's a much more like, intuitive user experience, meaning like you just swap Bitcoin for NAT tokens. But the issue there is the liquidity provisioning, which we're actively working to address, right?
Yeah.
So over time, that will probably be the most optimal pathway to acquire these tokens.
Yeah, and that's probably going to be the one that we focus on in terms of supplying liquidity here pretty soon. And yeah, so over 23,000 holders. NAT, if you don't know, it's the first DMT asset, right? And so yeah, it's just we're going to be focusing on this because it's the second subsidy of Bitcoin.
Right. So yeah, stay along, guys. Stay informed. We'll be making a lot more content around NAT itself and the DMT ecosystem because there's a lot of updates on the horizon.
And stay on the lookout for our Twitter account because on Thursday we should be getting together live to watch this thing actually happen for the first time ever, second subsidy.
Yeah, and if you're unfamiliar with the Bitcoin ecosystem completely, it's probably worthy just to dabble a bit because there's a lot of things happening in the entire space, right? With ordinals, runes, different tap tokens. It's a whole different experience, but again, it's native to Bitcoin. It's typically, these types of degrees of newness, I guess, in the market is what, kind of gets pushed away whenever there's too much noise, like meme coins, for example. But whenever those things subside, the next leg up will feature some of these these new novelties, right? DMT included.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's it for us. If there are any questions about the NAT token and what's going on in the ecosystem, shout out to Jason Lowery for such a good book, Software. Definitely look into it, read it, watch his talks at MIT talking about Bitcoin and power projection and all that stuff. And if you guys find anything that you want us to talk about, let us know in the comment section below. Appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.